This is the Iowa Weather Report for Friday, March the 13th, 2015. Now our first look at the 0Z GFS model run at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Ridge over the west, bit of a trough over the western part of Texas, and that's with a storm system that's going to be moving through the south at this point, with quite a bit of precipitation across eastern Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and into the mid-south and Ohio Valley. Quite a bit of rain down there, but around here it's still dry, mostly sunny, highs in the 60s, lower 70s across the area. As we move into Saturday, it may cool off slightly, some 50s and 60s to maybe around 70 from northeast to south and west. That precipitation to the south remains down there. It moves mainly to the north and east away from the state, so we still remain dry. And that looks to be the case Sunday as temperatures warm back into the 60s and 70s once again. Looks to also be the case here on Monday as well. No big storm systems near us. It's going to remain fairly warm and dry, which could lead to an increased fire danger, especially in our western counties, where the ground has gotten fairly dried out and the humidities have been fairly low of late. You see a frontal system coming in on Monday. This comes through late Monday into very early Tuesday. This will drop temperatures back to seasonal levels as we move through the beginning and middle of next week, back to the 40s and 50s for highs, which is typical for mid-March, not the 60s and 70s we've been seeing of late. And that looks to continue even to next week. You can see here by Wednesday, a little bit of precipitation to our south, but unfortunately, that's going to miss most of the state as well. Still high and dry around here as temperatures warm a bit. As we move toward Thursday, there could be a bit of precipitation around, but the chances are fairly slight at best. We should have a better indication if we could get some more precipitation in a couple days or so. Then as we even look to next Friday, see the flow is out of the north and west. Bit of an upper level feature moving across the Great Lakes. Another one back over the Intermountain West. But the flow out of the northwest more or less means the temperatures will remain seasonal to maybe a skosh below seasonal, but not by a lot. Any precipitation still looks to remain away from the state to our northeast, east, southeast, and southwest. So we will be mainly dry for the next week, it looks like. Even as we go into the extended period, it's still shows the northwesterly flow, trough mainly over New England, the Canadian Maritimes, eastern Canada. Bit of a flat ridge over the west, the Intermountain West. Still a flow west-northwesterly across the state. That's going to keep temperatures at least at bay. They're not going to go completely crazy, but 60s around, 50s, 60s look to be a good indication at this point as we move toward the middle and end of the month. And then as we look toward the end of the month, or close to the end of the month, you see the flow is still out of the west-northwest, a trough still over New England and the eastern part of Canada. And with this flow, it could get a little more active at this point. A little bit of precipitation around, maybe some rain and or some rain or snow mix, depending on temperatures. Big storm out over the east, and a couple of disturbances out west as well. But main talking point, it's going to remain somewhat dry. Satellite image from last evening doesn't look very dry to our south. A storm system coming up into the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. That's going to slowly move north-northeast and then into the east away from the state. We'll only see some glancing clouds from that. Watch warning map from last evening. A lot of flood watches, flash flood watches across Texas, Louisiana, up the Mississippi to about St. Louis and then across the Ohio River Valley. Around the rest of the country, it looks fairly quiet at this point, and it looks to stay that way. QPF chart, precipitation over the next 5 days. This goes through Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, showing most of the precipitation away from the state. Main good precipitation south and west of here.